artist. Here is somebody who is a mathematician and an artist. MC Escher. Imagine the combination. It's not only art, it's also impossible. If you look carefully at this art, you'll realize that it's an impossible ladder. And this is exactly how I'm trying to keep you all awake for this afternoon. Okay? Trying to figure out how you forget your sleep by trying to look at stuff which is in Go, which you believe should work or should not work, but works when it should not, and doesn't work when you think, yeah, it should work. Now, before I get started, it's also important to understand the demographics. So here, how many of you all have never programmed in Go before? It's okay to be honest, because it just helps me set the stage for how I'm going to explain. Okay, and is it safe to assume that the rest have programmed Go? Okay, let me ask the proper question. How many have programmed in Go? Do you know what a mutual exclusion is? There are quite a few people who are mutually excluding them. Okay, so, by the way, do you know what Go conferences are famous for? Why is Go called Go? Let's start very simple things. Anyone? Why is Go called Go? Is it a verb? Is it a noun? Is it an animal? It's an animal. So all Go programmers are called gophers. And gopher is literally a rodent. Something which lives in the backyard. It digs the ground and ruins your lawn. Okay? Now if you ask me why was Go ever called Go? Because as programmers, the most difficult thing in our life is naming a function. Right? So if you ever want to program your own language, what is the best way to do it? Give it a funny name, put a mascot, and publicize the crap out of it. It works. So let's go. Right? Now, I always keep my expectations right. I am very particular about my talks. There are people in the crowd who have never ever programmed in Go. But just for my benefit, have you all done some programming before? Oh, good. Is there anyone who's not a programmer here? Because then I'll probably want you on stage here. Because you deserve an applause for coming to a Go conference without knowing any programming. And if you think that is impossible, right? Before Go, I used to, the next slide is about Josh and stuff. But I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Funny things. I started my company in 2007. Okay, and 2007, I already had about 7-8 years of experience. Why did I say 7 or 8? Because all of us talk like that. How many years of experience here? 4.3 years. So is 4.5 years experience 4 years and 6 months or 4 years and 5 months? I don't know. But people who updated their resume get it right. Okay. So when I started in 2007, it is very easy for us to just work, whether there's C or Java or Python or Perl or PHP, it was all there. And my co-founder and me decided to do something different, and we started a company in Ruby on Rails. Now, when you start a company, like exactly what Rishikesh and T2 are doing, right? You have a meetup. I decided, let me do something different and have a meetup about Ruby on Rails. So, I organized a meetup. There were 25 people who came for the meetup. I was ecstatic. Then when I started talking about the meetup, one person says, hello, I am from this jewelry company. So, why are you here? Ruby or? Second person said, sir, I am from the railways. So meetups can always have people who are completely unrelated. Okay? Now, for the people who have never done any programming in their life, just enjoy the presentation. And if at all you are not able to sleep, it's my win. Okay? For the programmers in the crowd, there are going to be diverse levels of impossibility. Some will be straightforward, which you should be able to answer, or so you think. Some which are quite complicated, which you can say, expert ko bhi nahi aayega. Then we'll ask Rishikesh and T2 maybe, right? So, are there any Go programmers who are really passionate here? If you are passionate, you have to be proud of it. You can't say. If you are able to get that answer right, you get a t-shirt from me. Fair enough? Okay. The idea of this talk is to not fool you. The idea is to talk about how things can be done differently. Now, while I worked in Go, I've also worked a lot in Ruby. I've I started as a C programmer. And in 2007, when I started my company, I had nothing but programming skills. So my co-founder and me decided, भाई हमारे पास in Hindi, हमारे पास और कुछ तो है नहीं, सिर्फ जोश है. We have nothing else but passion. So let's call our company Josh. So we started in 2007 as a Ruby company. Then we got into Go. Now we're doing a lot of other technologies. I don't know. Apple and some robot. I have no idea what they are. Okay, but we are about 300 odd people spread across Pune and Bangalore. Work with a lot of different kinds of industry because coding is our passion. This is what the talk is about. The talk is not about trying to teach you anything. The talk is about the mistakes I've made in my life while coding. And I want you to be a party to those mistakes. So that when you want to either impress somebody or you want to tell somebody, I've been there and done that, you can say, he's been there, I've done that. Okay? In addition to this, there is a reason why I believe I have the least hair in the crowd. Okay? And it's not because of old age, I'm 18 years old, okay? Because it's all about the startup journey. So as we go through this, right, I'll also spin across a little bit. Any budding entrepreneurs in the crowd? Somebody? Aspirations, I want to start my own company someday. Okay? So then, first thing, start losing hair. Okay? And then we'll get there. Anuj has been one of my core employees. He joined Josh as a fresher and today has made a lot of mistakes with me. So let's start. Now, when I work, I dive straight into for all the programmers, I'm assuming that you know the difference between slice and arrays. Fair enough? Correct? Array is in any language contiguous memory, and a slice is a slice of that. Right? So now starts me stopping talking and you start answering. What is S?
Slice.
Or tell me if this is right or wrong. What is S and what is A? This is the array and this is the slice. So far so good, it's not complicated at all. I'm just setting the stage to confuse you. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to change the second element of the slice. Now what happens? Start to each journey. It sounds simple enough, but the slice and the array both change. Fair enough? Makes sense, right? If the slice changes, the array also changes. Now what happens? What I'm trying to do is I'm going to append a value to the slice. Now when you want to speak, right? Do not speak as if you are in a sprint meeting or a scrum meeting or a daily stand-up. Right? What you want to say is, we raise your hand and say it clearly. What do you think will happen? Daily stand-up, nobody is quiet. What will happen? Simple stuff. Correct? The slice got appended, the array got overwritten. That index. And of course, then the standard thing continues, right? Now what happens? Oh, by the way, here's constructs of Go. I hope you're all aware of the ellipsis. The ellipsis is treat each element of that array as an individual and just run through append. Correct? Now basically what am I trying to do? Append 3 integers to this slice. So what happens? You agree? You disagree? Do you agree? Something is wrong? Even a non-programmer would have said something is wrong. Correct? Something seems wrong. Why is it that only the slice got appended? The array didn't even? Yeah. At least 8 should have changed. But nothing happened. Why? The size is fixed in an array. So why did 8 change? What he said is the size of an array is fixed. So I completely agree with you that shouldn't get appended, of course. But why did 8 get changed? Arrays are values. Which language are arrays not values? No, there is no comparison. We are not comparing. Now, by the way, when you go ahead, we are going to compare arrays. That's also fun. But for now, what I'm trying to do is append values. In such cases, only slice got appended. Why not? Why not the array? What went wrong? You like this baby face? Alright. This is effectively what my array was. Okay? Now, why am I telling you all this? Because this is a common mistake. Every Go developer who starts writing Go makes this mistake. When in doubt, use a slice. Oh, array, convert to slice and move ahead. Be careful. When you are slicing an array, you have to be very careful. You got your answer first right. That array has fixed length. And a slice, as the name suggests, can change its form, can change its length. However, a slice is still a pointer into a peeking. A slice is peeking into the array as long as it can. When you modify a slice, the array gets modified. When you append to the slice, the array gets modified as long as the slice is within the array bounds. And when it goes out of the array bounds, the entire slice gets reallocated. This is a very common mistake we all Go programmers make. And unfortunately for you all, this cannot be caught at runtime. So cannot be caught at compile time. This is production level code which will hurt you. So whenever you are using a slice in an array, be super careful. Okay? I always move from tech to non-tech because I have to ensure that the people who are like, okay? So I give you all random yarn about how we started. When I started my company, I was a programmer just like you all. I still am a programmer, by the way. Wait, I'll make it better. I am a billable programmer on a project today. And I run a company of 300 people. Keep that as a goal. That till the day I have a goal that I want to code till the last day of my life. And I will still continue that goal, ensure that you will achieve it. When I started Josh, a lot of people dissuaded me from coding. They said, "What? You're a programmer. You need to know accounting, finance, customer, domain knowledge, MBA. You need to have shitloads of money, degrees, contacts. Do you think you need that to start up? Think about it. It's me talking. Remember, I'm talking about impossible stuff. Yeah, so I started in all this, started only with passion, and we actually managed to get to where we are today. But I'll tell you all, ladies and gentlemen, I was lucky. Okay? I met the right people. I met the right teams. I met the right customers. And that is the only reason why I'm able to stand here and give out gyan. Right? I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. The latest mistake being 1 month ago. I was talking to Chinmay this morning and he's smiling. Right? You make mistakes all the time in your life. The best part is make mistakes as early as possible. So if any one of you all is thinking of starting up, start up early. What's the worst that will happen? At least you know what you're not good at. But if you wait till let me earn money, let me get a degree, then let me get a PhD, then I will find somebody, then I will get contacts, then I will do this. By that time, it's too late. So if you want to fail, fail early. Okay? Back to code. And a whole lot of code here already. Sometimes I just have to keep quiet for you all to digest some code. Right? I explain this code. I have a struct which has a name and an age. And the whole game is about receivers. Now we all know that you have receivers. You can have the receiver as a pointer or as a struct. While it's very obvious, some of the stuff will work on the right as I mentioned. I want you all to answer the last question. Because as far as, did you understand what I've written here? In Go, for all the non-Go programmers. Oh, by the way, for all the non-Go programmers, which is the language that you all are familiar with? Python? Okay, let's put it this way. Object-oriented technologies. Everyone knows object-oriented concepts? Okay? So is Go object-oriented or not?
No. Partially.
Go is sorry?
Go is mix of all.
Go is everything. The solution to life, universe, and everything. So here's the biggest question when people ask me, is Go object-oriented? My answer to that is, you asked the wrong question. Are we as people object-oriented? That's a difficult question, right? Are we object-oriented? In life, we are so selfish that everything for us has to have some sort of objective. Otherwise, we will not come here. Why are we all here? There is a reason why you are here. Is anybody here because you are forced to come here? If yes, don't raise your hand. But you realize what I'm saying. It's a Saturday afternoon, the best time to either drink beer or to sleep. But you are here attending a meetup. Me, I have flown in from today to talk to you all. So for everything in life, we have an object. Unfortunately, in object-oriented concepts, the word object was converted into a noun, something. Right? However, anything in life has characteristics or traits, right? No hair, hair, right? Handsome, things like that, and behavior. There are only two things. You either have characteristics where I'm light, dark, heavy, fat, tall, short, or I have behavior, funny, sad, angry, grumpy, running around, doing something, whatever. So either traits and functions. That's all Go has. Now, a structure is effectively stuff which I am helping defining characteristics. age, name, right? And the functions are for that particular structure. The only way I link a particular struct with a particular functionality is through receivers like this. This particular function is for this particular struct or a pointer to a struct. In Go, you have this rule for the Go programs. Am I right or wrong? Read that line and digest it. I will be after me. If this function, if this statement is correct, should this work or not work? Because this is not a pointer. This is a struct. Does it work? Should it throw a compiling error? Because we all know that Go is very strongly typed. That type is a struct, not a pointer to a struct. Should it work? Ideally, it should not work. But Go, it works. Because that particular object has an addressable value. I can convert that object into a pointer. Can I convert a pointer into an object? No. Right? Pointer into an object. For all the non-programmers or all the Go programmers, how do I differentiate between a pointer and an object? Chinmay there is an object, and this is the pointer. I can change the pointer. Can I change the object? So if I have to use a struct with addressable value, he has a pointer to it. Anyone can point to Chinmay. But just a pointer does not point to any object. So Go actually handles this and works. Okay. We spoke about arrays, we spoke about pointers. The next logical thing was looking at maps. Maps, or in other languages, hashes or hash map. Any other names? Which one? Dict. The crazy one? Buckets. Have you heard of buckets? S3 buckets? Do you know S3 buckets are managed as a hash? So that's how they work. Alright, what's the output of this code? Oh, why? You bought yourself a t-shirt. Why? If you can answer me. So, his answer is that it will be random output. And I will take this moment to actually show you all this code. It's the same code. Okay? If I run it again, it gives me a completely different output. Now I'm going to go back to my presentation, and I'm going to give anyone here, the first person who raises their hand and gives me the right answer, I will give you a t-shirt. If you tell me why is my output for such simple code completely random? Yes, sir.
Because map has a property that whenever you range over it, it will give, it is not indexed, so it will give you a different output whenever you range over it.
Okay, so fair enough. I will ask you a couple of questions to understand whether the concept is clear or not. When you say it is not indexed, what does that even mean? A hash never has indexes. Which map, which dictionary is ever indexed?
Index, say, I mean that, let's say for an example, an array. If you range over an array, you get 0, let's say key value pair only. So you get.
Index and array are different. An array has positional index 0, 1, 2, 3. But a key value pair, how can it have an index?
Yeah, that's what. No, that's why. So the map, it's a quality of map basically. That whenever you range over it, it will give you a different output.
So it's a quality of the map. Alright, let me see. Yes, sir?
When we compare it with arrays, arrays are basically a data structure that allows us to access an element faster, and that is enabled by contiguous memory location.
lookups.
unique value, so kind of a set. So it doesn't matter, a contiguous memory location doesn't matter, which is why it could be one of the possibilities.
Two things contesting your answer. One is arrays are faster than hashes or hashes are faster than arrays. Just asking.
If you want to, so faster in terms of data structure, like array data structure is not for unique values.
Correct.
Sets are for unique values.
So both are sets. A set is a collection. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. I'm not found the answer I've got yet. Alright, cool, yes.
So when you compare the rule, today is even less than representing the program. They are not allocated continuously in memory. They are so first time when you compare, the weight is allocated in memory. The next time you compare, it is allocated in some different ways. So when we added over it, we get different values.
So here is the interesting part. If I change that for loop in front of you right now and just iterate the map twice, it will still give me a different order. Giving you a same code. In the same code. Yes.
And basically it is using the concurrency expression.
No. There is no concurrency. There. Go is not that complicated. It's quite simple.
Because it's keep on changing the order, right? So I'm thinking it's switching the map into of the partitions and it is given.
Go is not that complicated. So the answer is somewhere between both of what you all said. One, just to clarify, both are sets. Arrays are sets, hashes are sets. They are part of the connection, what we call a set. So here's a simple question which will help you answer this. Are we an array or a map? Are you sure? Because you do realize that you're ordered in rows and columns. Let me ask you another question. Can row 1 stand up? Can row 1 stand up, please? Oh, somebody listen. Can row 4 stand up? Please come. Can row 4 stand up? Stand up! Dude, this is afternoon time! How did you know you're row 4? How did you all know you're row 4?
We are ordered.
I didn't say. All I asked is, are we an array or a hash or a map? But you looked at it and so this is row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. Thank you. Now here's the question. Can column 2 stand up? Column 2 stand up. Column 2 stand up. Column 2 stand up! Quickly! Take your time. If you think your column 2 to stand up. Exactly my point, right? That's pretty cool by the way. You should stand up. Because, yes, sir, you should stand up because he said, yes, this is column 0, column 1. Right? Sit down, guys, thanks. So here's the thing. It's all about how we are ordered. Whether I say 0, 0, you would have all got your answers right. Correct? So we are an array. Right? Right? Alright? Billy, please stand up. Was this an array or lookup? Your name is lookup? Okay. Rishikesh, please stand up. Will there be one more Rishikesh in the crowd? Just keeping the voice. Correct? So are we a map? Are we a map or an array? We could be both. Correct? We could be both. So what determines as a programmer that you want to use the set, you want to use a collection as an array or a hash or a map? What decides? This is one of the most unfortunate things of being a programmer. We are always confused whether we should use an array or a map. Some languages, I have heard there are Python programmers here. I'm a biased programmer, okay? In Python, if you iterate a hash, it gives you the same order. Am I right? Same thing happens in Ruby. In fact, Ruby is worse. Ruby has something called an ordered hash. So the insertion order is maintained. So basically a programmer says when in doubt, use a map. This is wrong. When should you use an array? When the position of the element is important. Right? When I know that in my room there will be 2 Rameshes and I want to accommodate them by position that you are in row number 3 and column number 6 from that side. When you are positional, you use an array. When you are key versus value and unique key, that means there can be only one Rishikesh who enters this particular meetup. When you have a reason for uniqueness and a lookup, but not by position, but by a key, you use a hash. And go goes the distance to say that if you are using a hash, do not iterate it. Which means, if I'm using my structure as a hash, I should not iterate it. If I do, I should not rely on the order of iteration. This is called programmer ethics. Just out of raw curiosity, who wrote Go? I like to like this, I've told you all this before. Who are the authors of Go? Rob Pike, Ken Thompson. They were. I mean, they got hired into Google. Okay. Find the third one. Somebody wants a t-shirt? To the third one. This is the time you take out your phone quietly and check. Okay. So the authors of Go, okay, they are ex-C programmers, Bell Labs. When they decided to go back to the 70s and reinvent a language which is going to go according to Moore's law of hardware, that while my hardware scales, so does my software, there were certain kind of lines they drew. That as a programmer, each one of us has the responsibility to know when to use an array and when to use a map. Do not blur those boundaries. That's why if you actually ever iterate a map, you cannot rely on the order. Which means as a programmer, you have to rely only on the key value lookup, not on the orders. Now, sometimes I am only laughing about these slides. I've had plenty of iterations in my life, okay? I've had when my team has let me down because Gautam, it was a holiday, I deleted the production database by mistake. Right? Other times when my customers let me down, hey, sorry Gautam, can you keep the source code? My company went bankrupt. Hey, what do I do with the source code? Right? There are times when the bank has let me down. So this is for all the people who want to actually start up. I've actually had this crazy story where September 2010, I had 232 rupees in my bank account, not my personal account, company bank account. And we had salaries of 11 people to pay. Of course, you must be thinking average. I had no insurance. I had no money, no savings, no insurance, no house, no car. I had a home loan, car loan, personal loan, like typical IT engineers. All of you have a car loan, home loan. I had a personal loan also. Okay? And after this, when I had to pay salaries, I was like, I don't know how to pay the money. So I did the next best thing and said, okay, I'll apply for unsecured loan. Because I don't have security. So the bank guy came to my office and he said, yes sir, so why not we give you a loan? Here is 15 lakhs. Like, okay. And he said, this interest rate is 15%. Okay? And then I went to sign the paper, I was like, wait. This is 18%. And this is the reality of life, ladies and gentlemen. That guy knew reality. He looks at me and says, Oh, right. Mistake. I go to the bank and get it corrected, but that will take me 4 days. Oh, will your company survive to that? Ground realities. I looked at him and like, I see what you're saying. Give the paper. I signed it 80%. He said, thank you very much. I was like, no, this is my last thank you. Don't ever show your face to me again. I have never worked with that bank ever again. Ground realities. You will go through ups and downs in life, and you have to iterate through hashes and maps and arrays. But you have to have the ability to handle any situation which comes your way. And when your manager for your appraisal ever tells you, I don't think you're responsible enough, remember, responsibility is only the ability to respond to a situation. And how you respond, whether you get it right or wrong, is irrelevant. But responding to the situation is important. The programmer आपने जग गया किसी का comparisons, we are back. Thoughts. And by the way, I have not forgotten about the t-shirts. The t-shirts still have scope. Alright people, what's the output? True? How many people think it's true? Or just because I made this face? Come. What? What just happened? What just happened? See, that's my How many of you have actually gone through this in Go? Okay. How many are ex-Java programmers? Right? Have you heard the word type inference? Right? One of the reasons Java is slow, and Java leaks memory, referential memory, is because of type inference. Type inference is a way where you want to determine what is the type of the object or the struct, in Java terms object, in Go terms struct, or the data type, based on its actual value. Here, I know that it is 12, which is an integer, which is 4 bytes. So if I had to do type inference on the type myInt, go through the type hierarchy and say, oh, actually it's an int, and it's 12. And of course, an integer 12 is 12, so they are the same. By our eyesight, it feels that they are the same. Am I right? However, Go draws the line and say, what's नहीं? तूने type लिखा ना, myInt. That is the only one level of type inference that Go goes at. myInt is not equal to native data type int. Figure it out, handle it, or don't use it. Fair enough? And this is another very common mistake which will take you ages of lookup on Stack Overflow or Copilot, whichever you are comfortable with, to find out, yeah, oh my god, I need to read the damn documentation. Here's something else now. I just said that types are strong. On the left or on the right, whichever way you look at it, I have a type called foo, which has name and age. And very interestingly, two are exported, two are unexported. And on the right hand side, I don't have a type, but I have a struct. So what's the output now? True, true going once, true going twice. Anyone for false, false, false. True going thrice. Why is it true? So for a struct, it actually goes through each data type and tests it out, right? Right? Let's see. Same thing. Now what? And Every time you see that sign, there's a t-shirt up for grabs. You get it wrong, you have to give me a t-shirt. And if you think I was joking, there you go. There are t-shirts hopefully for your size here. Yes. It convinced me. It's not about saying true or false. 50-50 probability need. Answer देने का. So you have to raise your hand and say it's true or false and get the t-shirt from me. Yes.
So why the logic that you said earlier? So if you give one level of time interest, first it is saying that this is guilty interest. Then it will say, okay, this is struct of full time, and then there another struct, and that will say, okay, this is full time, this is just struct.
So you're saying by inferring on my previous slide, this should be true or false. According to my previous slide, according to that inference, it's the same struct. It's the same struct. Is it true or false? False. Who else? False. True. Okay. What's your t-shirt says? So the reason it is false is when I am trying to compare two different data types using that type, interface type, which is in other languages, easiest way is void star in C. Okay? I don't know the type. Then it will actually look at the type. And when it does a type inference, it goes at how many levels? One level. And says, hey, that's a struct, this is food. That's why it is false. However, if you compare the two structs as in the previous slide, by default, if we just compare two structs, we compare the values of the struct. But if you compare them using an interface, we compare them with the data type. What's your t-shirt size? Alright. Come and choose your t-shirt, man. There you go. Awesome! 4 more to go, people. Alright. Okay. Reverse question for another t-shirt, I think. No, not yet. It works. Here is the reverse question. Right? It is true. Even though my two structs have different values. How? It's a string is a string. In the earlier case, it compared two strings. In this case, the two strings are also different and it still work. What's the secret? What's the magic here? Sorry? But both are strings. So the point is this code not only compiles, it also runs. Correct? Go is strongly typed. So if there was a string and integer, one of them would have failed as a compiling error. So that means that is obviously a string. Still it compiles and it works. I'll give you a hint. You do this very often, by the way. I'll give you the clue for all the programmers. How often have you imported a package like from FFT and then you want to delete it all the I am here 1, I am here 2, debuggers, right? Even though we have del and not equal, but we still write I am here 1, I am here 1.1, I am here 1.2. Correct? And then before you commit the code, because your manager is going to kick you if you have I am here 1 and I am here 2, you go delete all the FMP println. Correct? But you forgot to remove import FMP. It will give you a compiling error. But I want to keep that import FMP because I'm going to use FMP println again. What do I do? Thank you. What is that? When you know the answer, you should try it. What's the worst that happens? You'll get a t-shirt. This is also used quite often, by the way. This kind of structure is used when you want to use a hidden context for different structures, for byte checks. Or in other words, when you want to do a parity check across structs, but you want to maintain our original context, but I don't want it to be exposed. Okay? Certain things which happen in the code. I'm thinking, should I give you a t-shirt or not? What's your t-shirt size? XL? N. Cool, good job. Hey. When I am on stage, my rules, agreed? Either we all clap loudly or nobody claps. So what do we do? Some more comparison. No t-shirt for this one. Okay, right? No t-shirt for this one because it's obvious, yeah, come on. And again, what is this now? Simple stuff, right? You cannot compare slices. Why? Because slice functions, they are pointers, maps, they are pointers. They are not native data types. Okay? These are standard rules for comparison. Know it, because if you ever think while you're coding, convert that array into slice, it will fail somewhere else. So don't do it. The rules of comparison are very straightforward here. All the types have to be the same, except if it's struct when you compare the fields. Okay? And there are certain things where you cannot compare. Maps, slices, functions, you cannot dereference them. Right? And only dynamic data type, the type inference stuff is done when you are using interface data type. Hence, it is a very strongly recommended value. Do not use interface type unless you really have to. Because it is going to have a performance hit on your programs. Okay? According to comparison, is always a live comparison. How many of you want to start a product company or services company? I don't know. These are my questions. People gave me a lot of gyan. Be a product company. And services company, easy money because you're providing a service and it's instant returns. I chose money or quality. Sigma, you run a company. Which do you prefer? Which would you prefer? Which would you prefer? Money. Which would you prefer? More money or shitty work? Or good work and less money? That's because you have to say it. You know when that EMI hits? But it is a decision that you have to take, and there is no real answer to that. But in life, there is one particular point in time where you are going to draw what we call as a moral threshold. This much money I need because I need to survive. But at every given point in time, please concentrate on learning or quality. Paisa milega. If you are learning something new and if you are delivering good work, you can rest assured that you will always get what you deserve. Right? Who is this? Alright, then the rest of it automatically comes out right. Correct? These are my company's ethics. This is my company's values. I have rejected a customer because they weren't doing the right thing. I've told a customer that this is what you should do, but it's something I'm not going to do. Alright, function overloading, object oriented concept people. Function overloading, core supports, right? Function overloading. So this won't work? Does not work? Maybe I got my slide wrong. Hang on, sorry. Main function. By the way, out of curiosity, which editor is this? How many Vim users here? Righty, we should talk. How many Emacs users here? Sublime? IntelliJ, VS Code? How many of you all cannot code without the mouse? Is the mouse not there? In code? Okay. On a terminal? Okay. No, I'm just pulling it. This is old age, sorry. This is genuine old age, okay? I tried my level best to work in VS Code. I have VS Code on my machine. It's just too heavy. It's like super lightweight, awesome work. And I don't like Emacs. So I only code in Vim. Okay? So, should this code work? And if you see carefully, I'm calling the same method, new person, with different parameters. I have even mentioned on top that they are globals. Should this code work? Should fail, right? Are you sure? Of course, new person is the function. But it takes 4 globals on top. Name, age, height, and weight. I have just called out my age and my height and my weight. But function overloading, supported or not supported in Go. So it should fail. The main function started here, ended here. Okay? Go run impossible 2. It works. So something is gone wrong. Here comes a t-shirt, people. What did I do? Oh my god, who's that? Now I'm going to explain what functional options are.
If you want to have optional arguments,
Don't tell me. They should do that. I'm joking. Hang on. That's pretty cool. Awesome. What's your t-shirt size, man? Alright, I hope I have that. Functional. Awesome. Awesome, man. Functional options. Functional arguments. Let's look at this. What here is name, age? They are globals, I said. They are globals, right? On top. What is their data type? String. So what code you didn't see is the code that is below here. These are functional options. If you notice, name, age, height, weight, they are not variables, they are not strings, they are not integers, they are not float. They are all methods, but they are functional options. Right? So Go supports function overloading. Like this, it does. But now you might ask the obvious question, why will I want to do this? Does that bug you? Like, are you stupid to do this? These are all learnings from our mistakes. What did I do? I actually did something. These are learning from our mistakes, where we actually started digging into code. How many of you have used TLS? All of you have used TLS, right? To start an HTTP server, HTTPS, you provide options, correct? Those are the options. When you say new server, you pass it TLS true, you pass it a timeout, or you just pass it new server. How does it work? Functional options. So functional options are not something that I am doing just for showcasing or showing magic in Go or impossible Go. But it's actually it's reality. And this is how you can use configurations the right way. Okay? These are functional options. It starts getting crazier, okay? We have used functional options in, so I always put this out, why not just default parameters? Do you know what default parameters are? Python, easiest, Python would be straightforward. If you're defining a function, when you're defining a function, you just give the default value for the parameter, right? Why doesn't Go support default parameters? Because it complicates the semantics of the first compile and run. Because now it has to scrape more dynamic data, and Go does not allow that. Now let's try something totally different, and this is pushing the limits again. So I'll explain this code, it is not so straightforward also. Right? On the left, on this side, we all know who Iron Man is, right? So I'll just give you an example here. Iron Man can fly, and apparently he can super fast, but he's not immortal. Correct? I have the interface called powers. We all know what interfaces are. This is not the type interface, this is the interface where I'm defining functions called powers. And I have a struct called superego which has this interface in it. So far so good. On this side, if I define powers as effectively a string, should it work? And unmarshal into Iron Man, should it work?
As long as you implement the identity.
It doesn't work. There's an unmarshal problem. Straightforward, right? It's too complicated. You can't unmarshal some JSON into some interface which goes into some struct, right? Correct? This makes logical sense. Or does it? Ready? Woo-hoo. See my main function? My main function has a power which is a string in which I pass powers and I unmarshal it. On top, I have exactly those same structs and those same interfaces that I mentioned in the slide. In this case, I just added Thanos and Iron Man, right? And this identity is a method. Line number 9. Identity is a method in which I say just if it's Iron Man, print Iron Man. If it's Thanos, print Thanos. Simple. Now let's have some fun. Concentrate on only this part. Oops, sorry. The main function. For now. Just concentrate on the main function. Imagine if this is a web application. All of you all know JSON, strings. Imagine if this is a web function which accepts JSON string. Correct? And we process that JSON string. So far so good? So, if it's immortal is false, fly is true, super speed and super strength, super speed is true. Is this Iron Man? Okay. Sorry. Not only does that damn thing compile, it also creates Iron Man. If I go to that same function and it does Iron Man die? Is he immortal? So if I say his immortal is true, is Thanos immortal? I just changed the parameters. Have I done anything else? I've not changed any code. I've just changed the string which I'm reaching there. Ladies, gentlemen, the input string data which is in JSON, all I changed is true and false. Correct? My output changed. How? What happened? What did I do different? Firstly, the unmarshaled fails if I actually try to do something like this. Not only have I made my unmarshaled succeed, I have also made it process changes inside my string. Have you used JSON unmarshaled? I've used JSON unmarshaled. Anyone? I just gave you a hint. Every struct, has anyone used unmarshaled JSON method? If you have used unmarshaled JSON, you can use it on a receiver for your struct and process any kind of JSON processing that you want. If this is not defined, then it defaults to the standard JSON unmarshaled. And here is my magic code, where I actually process the string into a separate struct, a map of the string on true and false, process the true and false, and create different structures into different identities. Moral of the story, unmarshaled JSON is awesome because unmarshaled JSON is not something which is in the JSON package, but which can be configured for every struct that you actually use. Now you might again wonder, कौन करेगा ये? किस लिए करेगा? I just explained that. It's one of my customers where we were doing federated identity provider management using DEX and using a lot of, and they recently got acquired by Sony. In this particular code, we found things like this, where you return different configuration based on different JSON data string. So imagine, so here's the case. Imagine that I want to work with different configurations which are configured as a JSON string. What are the advantages of configurations as a JSON string? I don't have to compile code. I can make changes at runtime. I have zero downtime abilities now. And all my configurable options for my services are as JSON parameters in a configuration file, which I can change at runtime and just reinitiate my services. Using JSON unmarshaled, I can actually have different connectors, different adapters, and get involved to make changes dynamically. Okay? Last one, I promise. This is the last impossibility. So why the number 8 there? By the way, the number 8 was very specifically running for my machine, which has effectively 8 cores because the MacBook does a hypervisor and stuff. Basically, the question here is, if I am running result plus plus in infinite for loop and doing continuous compute, we all know what Go routines are and we are going to get through a good session right now, Chinmay. The bar is set, so you will have to explain a lot of this. If I put all my 8 cores at work, I spawn 8 Go routines with an infinite loop, what happens? Yeah. So the problem is, and I spawn 8 Go routines on 8 cores, so my main function will never reach. So I've continuously used all the 8 cores for my infinite compute, and I have just called the process.
Exit before even the process really.
Before the main,
Yeah, like major exit.
and since I put a sleep here, the main goes to sleep and yields to any other Go routines. There are 8 Go routines, and all 8 use the core infinitely. So will this program terminate?
Depends on the sleep time.
No. Sleep time is 1 second. That's it. Sleep time for time not second. So will my program go infinite loop or will this program hang? And if it hangs and my CPU is 100% utilized, can I even exit? Will my system crash? Since you already got a t-shirt, I can't give you a t-shirt. See my thoughts? I'd love to put other speakers also on the spot.
Once the main code is ends, it will stop the
How does the main Go routine even get a context when 8 Go routines are already running at infinite loop compute? So, if I run this program right now, I'm running on Go version 1.21. My program actually exits. But if I run this on Go 1.16, it hangs. This is a cool part of my presentation. I'll repeat what I said. The cool part of my presentation. I love this fact. If I run this program on Go 1.16, it hangs. If I run on Go 1.21, it exits. Go fixed it. The Go contributors actually went and fixed this problem because they added a new variable. Are you going to Go GC fraction? So we had a variable in Go called Go max prox earlier, right? All of you are used to it now. By default, Go max prox is equal to the number of CPUs by default now. Okay? Earlier you could configure it, and default was used to be I think 1. So you could configure it for multi-cores. Then Go over at 1.12 or 1.13 added the default value of Go max prox at number of CPU or number of cores, and then this problem started. We've hit this problem, right? And then they forced put on the bug and said this is not right. So they added another field called Go GC fraction time. GO, GC, FRC time or something like that. Which actually says whichever Go routine is running will give you fractional time for the GC, the garbage collector, to actually come in. And because they added that parameter, these programs are actually now fixed. So when we try such stunts, for lack of better word, this shit really works. People actually look at it, people actually fix these things, right? So I can't even give that t-shirt even to myself because it's actually fixed, right? Alright, I know that you all are getting little stretched thin because of the impossibilities, but through all your life, right? Here's my simple take. You are going to have a lot of infinite routines running in your life. Don't forget to live life, even if you have to sleep through it. Okay? I'm pretty sure I might not be the oldest one here, but have you all decided? This is my last piece of yarn. How many of you all want to retire by 40? Good. I like that confidence. You must try and retire by 40. Why 40? you must not be financially dependent, which means your money makes money. You work because you want to work. You go to Hyderabad and give a talk at a meetup because you want to, not because you have to. You sit at work when you want, work how you want, work anywhere that you want, with anyone whom you want. But target that by the age of 40. Okay? And sorry, that is more about disrupting your industries. Okay? The presentation was actually given in Golang UK a few years ago, so I had to take a dig at the bridge. Right? So that was what my thank you slide was. Thanks so much for listening to me. There is absolutely no watch or clock, and I don't wear one. So I don't know if we have even time for any questions that anyone wants to ask. Your call. I don't know the time at all. If there are any questions. I'm not sure if there will be any questions.
You can tell the 18% tax rate.
I'm sorry?
18% tax rate.
I don't think I should, right? No, I shouldn't. But I'll tell you later on. I can't say that on stage. Any other questions about Go or life, universe, everything? I didn't hear. Is Go going to be used for? You already use TensorFlow, right? So by the way, I have one of my friends who's working on the Gemini project. You have heard of Gemini, right? The one just recently launched. What is Gemini based on? No. Gemini core coding, C++. I don't know why, but for whatever reasons, a lot of the people in Go don't use Go. A lot of people in Google don't use Go. But TensorFlow is one of the tools that you want to use if you want to actually have a lot of distributed flow, and if you're going to use it for machine learning models, the language is less relevant, the hardware is more relevant, unfortunately. You need to have stronger GPUs for processing power. By the way, do you know the biggest problem in Google today for compute? Power. They're just not able to find enough power to get churn data. And slowly, the software programming aspect is just losing its touch, because people are realizing that there's a lot of, given to the world of Gen AI and generative algorithms and all, keeping all that aside, Google is just not able to find enough power to compute or teach their machine learning models the right way of doing things. So Go is just one of the enablers today. And Go for machine learning, you of course use it for whatever tools you want. Sure.
So in CSCS, most of the companies are using Go. So if there is a chance, if the rising cyberspace, any some kind of a random bug going to disrupt the whole ecosystem of software.
Of course.
Financially, and
Yeah, if there were no bugs in the software ecosystem to disrupt the world, how would we all have a job? Hardly. Simple. OpenSSL bug, hardly. Caused major issues, major upheavals. Ransomware attacks will always be there. People are now looking at, they're trying to see how to break passwords. Quantum computing is able to break an RSA password in seconds. An RSA cracked key in seconds right now. So there are definitely going to be newer algorithms that are coming in. So as long as somebody is writing code, rest assured there is going to be somebody writing anti-code. It's great, right? Cool. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.